So welcome to the second episode of AMP Live. I'm delighted to say I'm joined today by Mike Williams from Ableworld. How are you, Mike?
I'm great, thanks. Strange times, but keeping happy, keeping going forward.
Yeah, it's, everyone's doing the best, I think. How's first of all, how are you? How has lockdown been for life at Ableworld?
It's difficult, very tiring, and it is difficult and strange times, as I said. But we've got a great team here. The team's still here. About half our staff are still going, and yes, business naturally has gone down, but it's happy times. The team here are helping the people, and feel good about it.
Yeah, and so how's Ableworld been operating? Give us a little update on what you guys have been doing.
We've furloughed around 45% of the staff, so we've been operating basically as normal, naturally bringing in PPE where needed, etc. But we've been still opening all our shops. We've been going out and doing repairs. We've been going out and fitting stair lifts. So as normal, but at a much reduced turnover. Yes.
And what's been your response, obviously, since in the last few days Boris Johnson's set out his plan to get us out of this? What's sort of been your response, and what's Ableworld's response to that?
Mixture, really. We're quite pleased on one hand. A couple of small restrictions limited, but also lifted. Sorry, but at the same time, we realise he can't go too far, because the last thing we want is total freedom and then having to go down to a serious lockdown again. So yes, I was very pleased that he's allowed people to go out and meet in a park and meet in the outside, which is good news, and hopefully that'll bring a few more people to buy some more of our products. Yes.
Yeah, that's I should think so. I think there's been quite a positive feel to it, more or less. Bit of confusion at first, but I think everyone's getting their head around it as we move on.
I think we've all got difficult jobs, but his is one I wouldn't want.
Yeah, I don't envy his position at all. Is that, you mentioned obviously you furloughed, you say 45% of the staff. How has that been managed, and how have you managed the staff that are working?
The staff working, I think they're in great spirits. Okay, there's the occasion where I'm sure they come to work and wish they were at home, like some of the others, but it's been great team spirit. They've enjoyed helping and getting out and sorting out, and because we've got less staff, as always, you're working closer together sometimes. So the team spirit has been fantastic. We're still keeping in touch with the ones furloughed. We brought a couple back, but in the main, the 45% was about right. Another one coming back next week, I think. But apart from that, yes, it depends on the business totally how soon we bring everybody back.
Yeah, of course, and obviously social distancing and things like that. Have you managed to put things in place in the office and throughout your stores to keep everyone safe?
At the moment, no problems. The social distancing's there because the office is basically half of what it was. We've got 25 people short in the office, I think. So there's been no issue with, any equipment or social distancing. The issue will become, of course, when we're trying to bring them back. But I see that as most of the people 5-6 weeks away at least, depending what happens. Depending on the rules around it, there could be difficulties. There's still 2 meters social distancing. Then there could be issues on how we plan the offices, but that's going to be much more a countrywide issue, because there's lots of factories and offices and call centres out there, which no way can they have 2 meters between them. There's a lot of the weekend saying about 2 meters is unnecessary and they'll go to 1 meter. Well, we can only see what the rules of the time are.
Yeah, of course, and obviously I think 2 days ago, the Chancellor extended the furlough from another 4 months until October. Does that give you some confidence to move on? In if need be, staff you've still got that chance to keep staff on the payroll and so on?
Yes, we're certainly hoping. I don't think anyone likes making redundancies, and we certainly don't do it. But the reality is, depending how business is and what the Chancellor expects employers to pay is we look at it every day, every week on whatever changes there are. But if it carries on as it is, yes, I suppose in your mind it's disappointing thinking, oh, well, this is good, this is a trade and this is how it's going to be for the next 6 months. But the reality is I think it will go into next year, yes.
Yeah, I should think so. That does sort of bring me on to, obviously, we mentioned the office settings, but the stores you have across the country, you know, how have they been operating sort of on a more individual level? How have, you know, I know some stores are still shut, but when I look at in other industries like little boutique style stores, because they're quite small and everyone's on, you know, you get on top of each other a little bit. But obviously with the industry we're in, stores generally, you know, are quite large, and because of the equipment, you can spread out a little bit. How has that worked?
It's fine, you know, most of our stores, there's only one store that I'd say is very small, which is in a hospital in Oswestry. So yes, that will be possibly 1 in and 1 out, or 2 in and 2 out, but it's not a real problem, it's undercover. You know, you look at the food supermarkets and the queues, and if it's raining, that's the time to go down, because you know they won't be queuing outside.
Yeah.
Luckily with our stores, there isn't an issue because they're large enough for both the members of staff and the customers to come in. And yes, we'll have to put rules and regulations into it, but we won't have the issues where we have to, you know, queue outside or something like that. I wish we would sometimes, to have that many customers at one time. But the reality of our trade is that we don't, you know, we won't have a big issue there. So the stores have coped very well. You know, as I say, the staff that are there at the moment, they're mainly volunteered to stay, and they're enjoying helping, but at the same time, they're managing, and there'll be different levels of worry, as we all are. We all have a different worry level on this virus at the moment.
And what, how have you kept in contact, and obviously not yourself, but the staff kept in contact with customers? And have you had people calling the office and asking for, obviously consultations have been difficult and, you know, almost non-existent. How have you managed that?
I think it's a mixture. We carried on as normal. As I say, we're open, the head office is open, our stores are all open. It depends on the customers. There's a couple of the existing stair lifts, when the curved stair lift came in, a couple of customers said, oh no, you know, I don't want you in my home at the moment, which is fair enough, we'll sort it out later. Others have been over the moon if we're still open. You know, we'll often do a stair lift the following day. The children who can't visit their parents have phoned and said, look, can you please help them with the stair lift? So, you know, they've been over the moon and very grateful that we're still around. You know, I suppose the biggest problem has been the customers who won't social distance. You know, we get some engineers or the guys going to do the stair lifts, and the customers are still coming up and very close. So it's more our staff having to say, look, can you please stand back a bit? You know?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's been the biggest issue. But yes, some consultations have gone ahead. Yes, we've had to have the PPE and keep the distance, but it depends how urgent and how serious the situation is. Let it be a riser recliner chair or let it be a power chair. You know, we can't ignore the people out there just because we got the virus. People are still suffering out there. People have still got the same problems. So we've got to try and work around and sort those problems out.
Of course, yeah, and using the you know, the terminology that the government has, it's an essential service to give to those people who are in need. So obviously, it's good that you're still out there and can do that.
Yes, I think that is the most important thing. It would have been easy just to furlough everybody and close our doors, but you know, that's not what we're about. That's not what we wanted to do. And yes, people are very grateful that we are still there, let it be for the incontinence pads or let it be for anything else. But let's not kid ourselves. For 20 years, you know, Ableworld have been proud that we've increased our turnover, normally double figures, increased profits virtually every year. But you know, it's no big deal this year. We won't be increasing our profits. We won't be increasing our turnover, you know. So, but that's the reality. And yes, by staying open, you could argue we've lost a bit more money than if we closed down. But you know, it's so important, the business we're in and the trade we're in, that we're there to help. You know.
Yeah, I suppose, and you can come out the other side of this knowing that you've done a good job to serve, you know, the customers that you look after, and as well as staff, keeping the staff with something to do and keep working and give them a sense of, you know, a good worth of coming to work and doing that job.
I think the people, a few we pulled back from furlough, have been over the moon to come back, you know, because you can only see those four walls. Would have been driven me insane to be at home, you know. I enjoy coming to the office. Yes, there's less staff. Yes, it's more difficult times, but you've still got a job to do. And it's the same with the customers. Some can't get out of their home, but still need to see people occasionally. But what the government's just done is good, because the people who can get out can get a bit of fresh air and from a social distance, you know, see a friend or a neighbour.
Yeah, you're right. That's good. I'm glad I'm working from home, but I'm glad I've still got that something to do, a bit of structure, 9 to 5.
Yeah,
You did just mention obviously a few products and things that you offer, the wide variety of those. How have supply chains worked throughout this time? Has supply been?
In the main, it hasn't been a problem. The problem has been, unfortunately, the British suppliers on beds and riser recliners. We've been trying to buy more British stuff, you know, in the last couple of years, but you know, as soon as the government closed the furniture stores down, of course, all the bed manufacturers and most of the riser recliner manufacturers closed down. So that's been a bit more of a problem, or a bit of an issue. We've got our bed supplier going in with some staff this week. Yeah, this week, and they're going to, you know, manufacture quite a few beds for us. So luckily they've come in to sort out some stocks for us. But other stocks haven't really been a problem. I think they will be a problem long term, but I think when we come out of this, we will be all right for a while, because we built up stocks quite a bit, you know, before all this happened. So we'll have the stocks. And I think the suppliers in the main, talking to them, will also have the stocks short term. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the different suppliers do. I know some of the warehouses are bulging. Will they start a price war? Or will, in the situation, some maybe try and put up their prices? So it'll be an interest in how the manufacturers react after all this, and how much they've got on the water coming over. But I think most of the warehouses are pretty full with the manufacturers we use.
Yeah, I think this you know, this crisis has sort of been a great leveler in a lot of ways for a lot of businesses, because everybody is in a similar position, and it's been tough for everyone. You mentioned obviously profits and things a second ago. How, from a business point of view, how has this left the Ableworld moving forward? Obviously, you're looking forward to moving ahead into next year and getting things back to normality, but you know, how are you looking to do that?
I think mentally stronger. You know, we've enjoyed, you know, helping, you know, playing our small part out there and helping. The so-called roadmap, it's we've been deferred, you know, done a bit of a deviation for 2 or 3 months, but we'll still open 2 or 3 stores this year. There's lots of people wanting still franchises, so we will still aim to open 3 or 4 new franchises next year, naturally depending on the situation. But yes, we haven't, as a company, yes, the profits, you know, won't be there this year, but at the same time, mentally, I think we'll come out stronger. I think we've done ourselves an awful lot of good with the professionals, the OTs, the care homes and everyone else. We've been there, we've been helping to deliver, we've been sorting out issues and problems to get people out of hospitals. So no, I think we'll come out as a much stronger brand, you know, yeah, coming forward.
Yeah, I think that can be said for, you know, a lot of businesses in that, you know, being adaptable and flexible to working. Do you think that's something your team and you guys in the office and out, you know, out there serving customers have done?
I think very much so. Yes, they've enjoyed doing it. They've enjoyed helping. You know, they've seen the hardship that people have gone through. You know, we've had closer ties with the health authorities to get the walking frames or the equipment to the homes. we've been delivering ourselves. You know, the managers have been going out in their cars. No, it's been a fantastic team effort all round from our company.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of them all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And obviously, you just mentioned the roadmap there that Boris has set out this week. What plan does Ableworld have to get those furloughed staff back to work? And obviously, government guideline allowing, how will that work from your business point of view?
I think it'll work as and when we need them back. You know, as you say, we've got till October now. The first stage will be the stores. We've got one coming back into head office next week, but apart from that, the first stage will be the stores, and that will be totally dependent on business. You know, if the business increases, or when as the business increases, we will slowly bring people back into the stores, which I don't see as a huge issue because we've got the space. You know, we'll make sure we've got the equipment and work by whatever rules. Head office, I see more July. You know, let's hope and presume business increases June, July. If that happens, most of head office won't come back till July, August, or even later, because of course as I said, we're well stocked up. So the business will come in, then we'll start ordering, and then unfortunately the invoices will start coming, and then we'll need a lot more people at head office.
But is that what you're, you know, from a personal point of view, hoping for June, July to see business start going again?
I'm certainly hoping in the next 2-3 weeks business improves. I'd be kidding myself if I thought we'd be going up to budgets in the near future. I don't think we will, and whether we will this year is another matter. But you know, the cost base is a lot less because of furloughing. So yes, we can certainly manage, and we will go through the year, and hopefully very quickly the business will come back. But I think it will be a gentle climb rather than next week everybody coming in.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously budgets there and this year profits, you say, will be affected. Of course, there will be for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, next year, do you think that will take a hit again for 2021? Will those have to be realigned to plans that you had in place?
We'll have to look at whatever budgets and profits it is. It's a situation in the country, whatever it is. You know, I certainly hope we'll be budgeting for very big increases on this year's sales. So, because yes, we've been here. You know, sales sometimes are 50% down on what they were last year. So, we certainly don't want that to carry on into 2021. Yeah,
I agree. That's just about everything from me. Just one last question on a bit of a lighter note. If you've had anything that's got you through the lockdown and the quarantine rules, what has it been? Has there been a particular TV show that you've got into, a series, or?
I don't think my life's changed that much, because I'm still in here by 8 o'clock, 8:15 or whatever. I still do my Monday memos on a Sunday. I'm normally working every Saturday. So my life has gone on, and it's a lot more tiring, with this situation. You get more tired, and I suppose the frustration has been I can't go out to a pub and have a meal. But I'm trying to think. No, I think what's kept me going is the staff, the morale, the attitude of the people we've got left here. Has been fantastic. Nothing's been too much trouble for them, and they've really worked to help us stay in business. As simple as that.
Yeah, it's nice to have that team behind you, obviously, to support that, and I'm sure they'll all value one another even more so than what they already did.
Yes, as I say, it's the present and how we're helping. There's also a future and how the staff have helped us the plan is to stay as the leading mobility retailer in the country, and hopefully that will happen, and we'll go forward next year. But none of us know what 2021 will bring, and so it's great doing roadmaps, but you might have to change every 5 minutes depending on the situation.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few more bumps in the road and twists and turns. Yeah,
Very much so, very much so. But you know, you mentioned the suppliers earlier, and I'd like to put a couple of words to them. They've been great. In the main, they've stayed open. You know, naturally, some have had delayed invoices, but we're, you know, paying them and it's going through. And you know, I'm sure they've got the same problem with their importers or manufacturers. So I think the other thing it is everybody's come together. You know, the manufacturers, you know, as always, I've been a buyer all my life, so you try and get the best price and the delayed payments or whatever. But I think it's been a time for everybody to come together, which is good.
Yeah, I've seen that across the wider industry, you know, in mobility, and yeah, everybody does seem to be pulling together for the common good and common good of the industry and the sector.
Yes, very, very much so. And you know, yourself with your friends on the opposition, it's great to see your blogs come through together.
No, it's the work, they go hand in hand. The work, it's been working well. It's, you know, they're doing a good job, and I hope we both are, and serving the industry well enough.
We're thinking of doing a video with both of you on there. So.
I look forward to seeing it.
Okay.
Right then,
Okay.
that's great. Well, thanks for joining me, Mike. Much appreciated.
Okay.
And thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thanks, Alex. All the best. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.